I forgot what is the little thing I do. Whatever. We're back. Open gym presented by
The
Mojo
what?
Sports. The
The
little thing.
what? What are you talking about?
Bro, I'm talking about the little thing that I stole from Chance, bro.
You stealing now? You're a thief.
Bro, you gonna act like you never heard Chance to say "and we back"?
But you
Chance
talking
the
about
rapper, bro.
Ew, you copy
listen to
stuff
him
from
that
Chance the
much?
Rapper?
That's a lot.
Bro, that's old
Bro, what is
Chance.
wrong with you?
That was old
I
Chance the
don't want
rapper,
you to ever
bro.
start like that again.
All right, bro, get up
Change
off.
it up.
Look, we back. Open gym episode 45. I have no clue. Presented by Mojo Sports Gear. You know, it's me, Rondell, here with Marvell and T.
If you can't count, just say that, bro.
How y'all feeling,
I don't
man?
know. I don't know why we do this every week. Like I'm just thinking one week. Maybe I'm naive. I just think one week we'll come in and be like.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had it down packed, but like I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it for so long.
Early.
It's
too early,
bro.
bro.
I've been doing this for so long.
And you still get it.
It's about to be my stick. I just gotta keep it, bro.
This your man?
That's your man.
All right,
that's
bro.
your man.
That's your man.
No, that's your man.
That's
Technically,
your man.
That's my son, but that's your man.
That's crazy. It's just part of me, bro. I got to.
He really is the last of the Frohicans.
Wow. Man, how y'all feeling, bro? Just get to how y'all feeling.
So good. Because we're going to at least get a game 5. Happy about that.
I knew we were going to win the game.
Hey, game.
So I feel great. I feel grateful.
It's a sunny day, too. I can wear shorts today, so I'm happy about that.
It's windy outside. This
few
man
days.
crazy.
Man, I said the same thing when I checked the weather before I left. I was like, yes, I can wear shorts.
It's 79. Fine with me.
Oh, I saw 80.
You saw 80?
I saw 80.
79,
It was
80.
66 at
Bro,
the
it's the
time, but then I
same
saw
thing.
it was going to be up to 80. Chief.
I'll take that extra degree.
79, 80. It's the
Sounds-
same thing. It's
sounds
still
more
windy
appealing.
outside.
No,
It's
it's not.
so high.
I told you couldn't do math. 79, 80 is the same thing.
It's like a point away.
A point?
Okay, so
All right, bro. Look, as a LeBron
windy
fan,
80
I am
would
not happy at all. So yeah.
Shut up.
I wanted him to sweep them Nuggets, but all right, bro. A gentleman's sweep is fine. Gentleman's sweep is fine. But since we started off, let's start off with
I
these.
thought you said you was a Cavs fan. Now you
I'm a
LeBron
Cavs fan. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm a every fan. Bro, I've been a LeBron fan, but I am a Cavs fan.
Oh.
Bro, without LeBron, I would have never liked basketball. I ain't gonna lie.
I think if it was for me,
I just come up from the Bobby Stewart era. Excuse my loyalty.
That's
Shout out to Chris
crazy.
Gatlin, Lamar Murray. What's up,
That's
y'all?
crazy.
Michael
I
Jordan.
mean, I was a kid, so you know, like 03 is the only time I remember it. I was like what 7, 8.
Well, thanks for making me feel like a grandpa.
Yes, sir. You an old man. Hey, you started off with singing. What was it? I can't. James Brown. Like you an old man.
Not James Brown.
Bro, he said I feel good. Da, 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 da. Like oh man.
So good.
He said James Brown.
All right, but I was trying to segue into these series since y'all brought up the Nuggets and Lakers. So, you know, I made a little graphic, but you know, let's get to talking about these series. Which one y'all want to start with? Boston and Chicago or Denver and LA?
Boston playing Chicago?
Yeah,
Boston's not playing Chicago.
Boston is playing Chicago.
No, they're not. They're playing Miami.
Oh snap!
Get it together, bro.
I am wow. I'm bugging. I'm bugging. I made a whole graphic that says Chicago, bro.
Well, how much did Derrick Rose have then?
Nah, bro. Oh god, I had
Rodney played
made,
40 minutes.
bro. I had made the graphic for Billy Donovan,
They did.
and then I made the graphic for the Boston series, and I put the Bulls. That's oh man.
What happened to your preparation?
Oh man,
That ain't even the playoffs.
I just
That's so much pain.
I so badly.
It's
For
all
the-
right, bro. We
For the
here
Boston
still.
Miami series.
Yeah, let's
If I'm
talk
not
about that.
mistaken, I think that's what I know. I'm blind, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've been watching.
Shout out to the Bulls.
I thought I was like, hey, they got Jimmy Butler. I thought I was watching the Bulls.
The Bulls woke up like, huh? What are you calling me for? What are we doing today? But I think shout out to Gordon Hayward. Came in, made a difference. Boston had to have it. So it was one of those things where I mean you got a little bit of trouble on your hands, and you definitely would have. It would have been over if they would have went down 3-0. So I mean, I'm happy because I don't. To me, being a Cavs fan, I don't have a rooting interest. I don't. Now, I don't want to necessarily say I don't care who wins, but I'm not rooting for nothing. I just want to see longer series. I want to see more basketball because it's about to come a point where we're not going to have it again. So I want to enjoy it as much as I can. But it was good to see Boston come out and not go out like no chumps. Because I mean, Miami has been kind of punking them. They've been doing that to the teams that they did it to Milwaukee. And they've done it to they had the first round. They had Indiana. They've done it to both of them. And I think Boston was more inclined to fight back. And here we are. Marcus Smart, he kind of took that to heart. Um, I know they said something about having an argument pregame or after the last game,
Yeah, it was after
which
the last game. There was a lot of screaming in the locker room.
I feel like that's overblown because at the end of the day, I don't want any player on my team that's happy after a loss at all. So if you're not screaming, hollering, punching stuff, throwing things against the wall, elbow
Right.
dropping, DDT and power driving something, I don't want you on
DDT.
my team. I want it to get physical. You're playing in the
I
playoffs.
mean, it was Marcus Smart, so it probably did get physical, physical.
Yeah, but that I just and obviously I don't know, but from his mentality, I would think that's probably what the argument was about. I need y'all to get where I'm at because Marcus Smart is always ready. Marcus Smart is always going to bring his game. He's going to flop sometime, but he's going to bring his game. And I think at this point, it was just kind of more of a firing him up. It kind of reminds me of back in the day when Dez Bryant he had the quote unquote outburst on the sidelines, and then when they put the mics on there, he was encouraging them. And as a leader, there's different ways to encourage your teammates.
Right.
Marcus Smart probably thought they were playing soft, and they were. So he chewed them out a little bit, and they responded. So um, I'm not a fan of the reporting on hearsay or reporting on what you heard from the walls or whatever. You're a reporter. Do your job. Ask them the questions. So I'm not big on all of that. But whatever gets your team fired up, I'm with it. So I mean, whatever it took to get them to come back and respond the way they did, it worked out. Hopefully, they can carry that same momentum into Game 4 for their sake.
Okay. What about you, Marvell?
One thing that I definitely noticed was with the addition of Gordon Hayward, the ball movement for the Boston Celtics has been a lot more fluid. In game one, I noticed that the Boston Celtics, in all three games actually, 24 assists, 19 assists, 24 assists. Granted, 24 assists came in an overtime loss. So clearly, with Gordon Hayward, and you see with 19 assists at game two, and then with the addition of Gordon Hayward in game three, the ball was moved a lot more. And with great ball movement and with less stagnant and more and less hero ball of the Boston Celtics, the Celtics are able to be more dangerous because you don't know who's going to get the ball. They're all dangerous. Gordon Hayward's not the scorer he used to be in Utah, and coming into it, that's okay. They knew that. So they just needed someone with better leadership who can come off the bench potentially or can be a starter and rotate the ball, give leadership, get some tough buckets because Gordon Hayward's still a bucket in the league. It's just that he's not the bucket that he used to be. So with that addition with the offensive prowess but offensive flow, it's going to give a different challenge to Miami, and Miami's going to have to make a few adjustments now that Gordon Hayward's in the mix.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's to piggyback off his point. I think the Gordon Hayward coming off the bench aspect helps him out so much because that is something that they were lacking, which typically they wouldn't have it if Gordon Hayward didn't get hurt. But sometimes you need that extra spunk to, kind of give you something when you have nothing. And Miami's deep. Boston's deep too, but they're deep a different kind of way. They have more role player kind of Robert Williams of the world, the Watermakers. They don't really have a bucket getter. Miami, you can either bring Gordon Dragic off the bench if they feel like it, Duncan Robinson off the bench. You can bring Kendrick Nunn off the bench. You can bring Green off the bench. I mean, there's a ton of talent that they fill different roles. So I think when you throw Gordon Hayward in there, where they couldn't get a bucket going through some spurts of time, previously over the last couple games. Now they can give it to Gordon Hayward, and like Marvell said, he's not the all-star talent that he used to be, but he's still a pretty great player. And in that role, he's going to be able to flourish because he's not dependent on being the first, second, third option doing when Jason Tatum's out there, Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart's out there, he's not, he has to kind of find his spots. Now you can run the offense through him for spurts and then kind of integrate him with people that fit better for his play style. And Miami's a great matchup too because they don't really have bigs that's going to punish you. I know Bam's a problem, but Bam's more of an energy problem. He's more of a playmaking problem. He's not a dump it down in the post, get you a bucket, use the size to his advantage kind of problem. He just worked extra hard. So their size issue is mitigated a little bit by Gordon Hayward also being able to come off the bench and everybody on that bench unit being able to fit into a role and not get punished as much.
All right, so going forward with this, with Gordon Hayward back, and probably a newfound energy for the Celtics. How the series looking? It looking 7-6.
I wanted to go seven. Just again, the basketball fan in me, but I think Miami has to win it in six because you don't want a seven with Boston, especially after being up 2-0. Because at this point, especially when you don't have the home away dynamic, you usually could depend on, okay, I got my mouth bloodied a couple times, I can come back and my home crowd are, carry me because that's an underrated factor, man. Like the crowd, all that does something for your personality, your ego, especially, the Jason Tatum's of the world, the Jalen Browns. They're maybe not as moves, but the Wanamaker's and the Tysons are for the home crowds, and that's the same thing with the role players in Miami. You have to be able to put them in spots that give you momentum. So when you don't have that kind of momentum, you need the momentum, that self-made momentum that you're going to have to use in the bubble. And I think if Miami is up 2-0 and then you look up and there's a game seven, Boston will win it just because we had them by the neck and we let that go, and they use that momentum to carry Boston through to a game seven. And game sevens, anything can happen, and Miami at that point will be backtracking because the momentum ain't on their side. So I think that they need to do it in six.
Okay, what about you, Marvell?
I think the next game for me is going to have to help determine it because of the simple fact of yes, Gordon Hayward is a factor, especially with the depth of that he adds to the bench for the Boston Celtics, which helps out a lot. It gives off a relief to, like I said, the players, the Wanamakers and Robert Williams of the world for the bench of the Boston Celtics. So I don't know if this past game was luck and they were just in good rhythm, or if it was solid and it was solidified like Boston's going to make this a tremendous series. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck. Like I said, the next game is going to have to determine it. So I think that with the addition of Gordon Hayward, this does make it a lot more challenging for Miami. With the bench of Miami, I think that Miami still has more depth overall, but I think that Gordon Hayward brings a lot more star power to bring it to make it more interesting and to make it more challenging for the Miami Heat. So I kind of feel the same as T in the aspects of if you're Miami, you want this to end in six. You don't want Boston to get a chance whatsoever. Boston could somehow wake up. I think that Miami is better in the clutch, but Boston definitely does give you a scare, and Boston doesn't want to leave out empty-handed whatsoever. So that's where I think where my position goes.
All right, I'm kind of with y'all. I'm kind of leaning that way, even though I did pick the Celtics to go all the way to the finals. I mean, they were gonna lose to the Lakers, but I did pick them to go all the way. But looking at this series right now, I think Miami's gonna clutch it out. They off Boston still got the better offense, but Miami just, I don't know, they looking a little different. They hungry. They want it all. So let's transition over to the other series of the Western Conference Final. I actually have the right graphics for this one.
Yay!
It's nothing but just a little sign, just Lakers are leading the series 2-1. If you saw the game last night, Denver held them off from coming back. What was the final score? 99 or 103 to 112?
114 to 109.
Was it?
No, that's not that close.
Nah, because at the 3-minute mark, that was what?
It was close. They let him come back. I do know that. I can't remember the final score of it.
It was
114,
114 to
106.
106.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a struggle for the over 30 crowd watching them Laker games. Boy, I'm telling you, man, listen, I try to keep my eyes open during that. That's why I could never be a Laker fan. I foreseen this coming
All right.
early. I knew it. Man, after 10 o'clock, bro, it's going to be hard for me to keep my eyes open. And sure enough, but I was able to see the ending of it. It was what kind of kept me up is the fact that I'm sitting there like, Denver's about to blow this. Ain't that about to be ironic? The fact that Denver has been the comeback cats this whole entire time. Let them blow a lead. Let them blow a 20-point lead. That would have had me too weak. But they didn't. And for Denver's sake, you had to have this W because you were definitely going home if you were down 3-0. Because especially a LeBron-led team, especially coming off the momentum of Anthony Davis. See, what worked out for them, and I know Anthony Davis had 27 last night, but he had 2 rebounds. So, in the grand scheme of things, that kind of helps humble you off of that game with a shot. But if they would have lost, especially coming back from down 20, oh, the series was over. But I think Denver has shown this whole entire time, especially Jamal Murray, that there can be spurts of time where he's the best player on the floor, just flat out. Not saying that he's the best player as an individual because he's not, but it's about how you play. Just like the same thing I said with Jimmy Butler, it's a confidence thing. Jimmy Butler wasn't better than Giannis, but Jimmy Butler felt like he was better than Giannis. Jamal Murray's not better than LeBron, but he can feel like he's better than LeBron because the way he's going, the way he plays, and he gave LeBron a little elbow just to get him a little Folgers up in his cup. And I don't want to say I like to see that because it was dirty, but at the same time, you kind of think Murray's soft. So I think going against LeBron's chin a little bit kind of wakes up the I ain't soft, I'm ready to play, I'm ready to be the man kind of crowd. And that's kind of what you need. It's like one of them technicals. When the coach gets thrown or when the coach gets thrown out, you see the team come out with a run. Sometimes you need to get a little dirty to get what you need. So I think that was a good look for him. Um, Jokic played his tail off. He hit one of the craziest fallback fadeaway shots over Anthony Davis I've ever seen.
Man, wasn't it beautiful?
But
I mean,
shout
he
out,
missed that one over Rondo, so
oh yeah, but
yeah.
Rondo's a better defender. No,
That's crazy.
But shout out to Grant too, because I think Grant had 26, 27 off the bench.
26, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was
He came off the
26.
bench. I can't remember if he started or if he came off the bench.
He
But
started.
okay, that's a heavy, hefty 26, and you need all of them, and you need players like that to show up and show out. If it kind of feels like he had the home court momentum on his side. You know, the role players always play better when they're at home. I know they're at the same place. I know it's not traveling and doing all that. But a mentality, again, takes you a long way. A mentality is why Paul George is sitting at home watching these games. You see what I'm saying? A mentality is why Jimmy Butler's playing in the conference finals. The mentality is why Jamal Murray's playing in the conference finals. It's always like that. So it's the edge that Denver took back. Now LA is kind of backtracking a little bit. I know it was one game, they're still up in the series, but you had to feel like things were, I don't want to say easy, but you kind of felt like this was your time to shine, especially with the whole Mamba thing happening, especially if you're looking at a potential Lakers Celtics kind of series. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Some will argue that it is made up, but it's just all that's happened. That's why I want to see Denver Miami being in the finals because that's what nobody saw coming. It's like the RKO of basketball right there.
I mean, to be honest, nobody saw the Lakers Celtics, and nobody saw. We'll see a Lakers Miami. So
I don't want to say nobody saw Lakers Celtics. That's more likely because you can say Celtics if you didn't believe in Milwaukee. And I think there's a lot of people that when you think about having to depend on Chris Middleton, when you think about having to depend on Eric Bledsoe, you could easily pick against them. And you would have been right.
I mean, I feel like after that first game, lost to the Magic, that's when it kind of changed. But
Yeah.
after that, the regular season, I don't think anyone truly did believe in Milwaukee.
Well, it's 2 different seasons, and that was the thing. Like, you had to prove that you could win in the regular season
Right.
if you're Milwaukee, and you got to prove that you can win in the playoffs. The regular season means nothing. Giannis is accepting his award from Greece. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, nobody cares anymore. You know, at the end of the day, you got bounce. And again, going to mentalities, that's why Giannis is sitting at home. He don't have the juice. At least not yet. I get it that he's still young, but again, it's the mentality that carries you. You have to have a dog on your team. They didn't have a dog on their team. They had puppies, they had little kitty litter, but they didn't have no dogs. Miami
That's
has
crazy.
dogs. Boston has dogs. Lakers have dogs. Denver has dogs, and that's why you're seeing them in the conference finals. What you think, Marvell?
From what I've seen yesterday from the game, first half, Jokic was very aggressive. Jokic was very aggressive when it came to trying to get his buckets. Pushed over AD a few times, bullied over JaVale McGee for rebounds and a putback, getting fadeaway shots. This is the Jokic that I want to see. But at the same time, Jokic doesn't always have to be that top scorer. This is the aggression I would like to see, but the scoring aspect of it, I would like to see Michael Porter pick up later as we get on in building our team together. Sure. But right now, I would like to see the scoring aspect. Sure, why not? Jeremy Grant, with his game, it helped us tremendously because one, he's not like that offensively. He's one of our energy guys. He's one of our. He reminds me of like a Paul Millsap, of a more athletic Paul Millsap. So with the role that he plays, I'm glad that he got those points off. 26, that's phenomenal. But the number one thing that I've definitely noticed with this game was LeBron. The Nuggets won with a LeBron 30-point triple double. Right? He did.
Yeah.
30, 10, and 11. So that's possible. LeBron can go off and they can win. AD coupled that with a 27-point game. Right? Cool. The number one thing out of that I noticed was no one scored more than 13 outside of that.
Well, the number one thing I noticed is LeBron is your leader for rebounds and assists. I mean, on a team full of bigs like that, like how you only got 2 rebounds?
That's the thing about AD.
How does Dwight only have 1 rebound? I mean, he coming off the bench, but you got 1 rebound. How McGee only got 1 rebound?
Foul trouble, I believe. Check their fouls.
Let me check.
Could have been foul trouble because that's what Denver was doing earlier in the game too. They were getting a lot of fouls. They were getting to the line. Denver was
I
getting
heard
busy.
about that. I heard the refs was in their favor. A lot of people like to say.
I'm never gonna say that when they play with the Lakers. Never. Never.
I heard
Denver did get a lot of calls. I'm not gonna lie.
I heard a lot of
Especially
people
the first half, Denver got a lot of calls, but the Lakers did get their tic-tac calls too.
Well, people love to complain anyway, so that's why I don't listen to a lot of complaints because people love to do it.
But we talked about on the show too how the referees have been very inconsistent on what they call in the bubble.
I mean,
We've addressed that.
I'll agree on that, but to be against the Lakers, the referees, no,
Never.
never.
That would mess up the NBA's money.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine the Nuggets making it to the finals?
I would love to see
The advertisement for that.
I would, man.
They would be spooked. Especially if they beat the Lakers.
I don't know if I'll say that.
Business wise, the NBA would be spooked.
Business wise, that'd be
that'd
be the greatest storyline. What are you talking
Well,
about?
I think at this point,
a giant falls. You know the way you can market that.
Which storyline would be bigger, the Nuggets storyline or the Lakers getting to the finals after Kobe's death, LeBron James making it to the playoffs after not making it to the playoffs at all his second year, getting AD's first time in the finals, going this far.
But everybody loves a David and Goliath story. Everybody loves an underdog.
Yeah, that's great, but I don't think that's better than the Lakers story. I mean, per se.
For a lot of people, it would be we're talking about like a lot of people who don't really care about basketball would probably tune in because LeBron's not in the finals.
But look, okay, prime example. Look at what the playoff numbers did when LeBron didn't make the finals last year. The playoff numbers were pretty low.
I mean,
they were substantially low.
I didn't even watch the playoffs, and I love basketball.
Because you're a LeBron fan purely. If LeBron was in the playoffs, you would have watched it.
I still wouldn't have watched it because the Warriors were still beasting around. I kind of knew the Warriors was going to make it.
That would I would say would be most of the argument is
them missing too.
It was a predictable season over the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan on the casual fans. Forget the casual fans. Like the casual, that's
Hate
what.
casual
That's
fans.
why they are the casual fans. I don't understand why the NBA constantly tries to appease to the casuals
Right.
and say, "Well, forget the people who actually watch every game or actually care about the regular season." And like they go to the, "Oh, we only care about the playoff crowd," and try to appease them. Screw that. Why do you compete? We don't want a stage sport. If that was the case, we would watch wrestling. At least the real fans don't.
Oh,
Casual fans like NBA to be like wrestling. It's the drama. That's why you get the Celtics conversation and all that because
right.
it's the TMZ aspect of it, which I hate, but the casuals love. So that's what they have to do.
Right. But I'm just saying, if the Nuggets beat LeBron, that's
No, yeah, that's great. No, that's phenomenal. I'm not
I'm
robbing
I'm
that at
saying
all.
like you saying the ratings wouldn't be something. I'm
They
saying the
wouldn't.
ratings will go through
They
the
wouldn't
roof.
because again,
If
we talked about this on the show before.
right,
It's the downfall. It's the narrative of Kobe as well.
right.
So it's just like if you don't see that team go, it's kind of like they're gonna think negatively, like oh man they didn't get there because you know what I'm saying, they were supposed to do it for Kobe, blah 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 blah. So they're mad. So then they tune out. It's kind of like it's a business cycle. It's like a business mentality, but it's weird. It's
I wouldn't
so
say they tune out for that.
but it's kind of like they get mad. It's like okay, if your team is going to be in the
I mean, like the whole Laker Nation would be mad. Yeah, I get that.
but the Laker Nation and bandwagoning is a lot of things because a lot of fans are in the NBA are casuals,
But if
and
there's
that's the terrible thing about the NBA is the NBA has terrible casual fans.
right, but if we got bandwagoners, the best thing they do is they hop on wagons. They see this young Nuggets team bullying an old Lakers team led by LeBron.
It's not going to
They
happen
gonna
that
jump.
quick. It's not going to happen that quick.
You sure
They're
about
gonna
that?
yeah they're not. It's not going to happen that quick. They're not going to turn over. Like Denver has to win the championship in order for them for
They
the
take
bandwagon to flip over
If they take out LeBron,
because it's still the
I'm not
anger
saying like the
aspect of
whole
things.
bandwagon is gonna jump, but a decent amount is gonna jump.
Not all the way because you still are going to bet against Braun. People are going to do that first. That's why I'm saying the Nuggets have to have the credibility of winning the championship and beating Braun for them to go towards the bandwagon. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's a mindset.
Bro,
It's a thought process. It's
we
weird. It's a bandwagoning process.
all I'm saying is people they gonna tune in.
But also,
It
may I
may
say
not
this?
be the same amount if LeBron make it, but they gonna tune in.
May I say this?
Yeah, what's up?
Whoever comes out the West is winning the finals, no matter what the matchups are.
Just off GP, off general
The
principle.
Lakers can beat the Celtics and the Heat. The Nuggets can beat the Celtics and the Heat.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I think anybody can beat anybody at this point, especially
Yeah,
when all the parameters that used to be there aren't there anymore. So it's really just basketball. And I think that's what carries Denver. Because again, going back to the home crowd situation, you don't have to go to on the road for game five down 3-1. Now you're just going into the gym. You have a couple things that you feel like I needed to work on, I needed to get better on. Like especially in Denver's case, Denver can argue that they could be up 2-1. If it's not for Anthony Davis' shot, they're up 2-1. So it's the mentality of it's we don't have to stop what we're doing to beat these guys. We just have to not let them have the last shot. Or we have to score a couple more buckets where they don't get to a last shot situation. Anthony Davis ain't even about that life. Really.
So you're saying that the Nuggets should be up 2-1?
They could be. I'm not saying they should be. It is what it is. I mean, Jokic hit the shot before Anthony Davis hit his, but it was a situation where I mean, if Denver has the last shot, they left no time on the clock. Denver wins. If Jamal Murray blocks the ball and somehow keeps it in bounds for another second, Denver wins. But it's just the luck of that basketball dropping. But what go into their favor is, all right, well, we got a day or two off where we can chill, kind of get in the lab. We don't have nothing else to do but swim and whatever, do whatever we do in Orlando, but get back to it. And now we're in the mode where we don't have to travel. We don't have to worry about if we get if we lose in LA, it's over. None of that because we don't have those variables anymore. So I think it's more of it's kind of like that open gym field where I can lose one or two, but then when I get back on the court, I can reel off 3, 4 straight. And I think Denver's mentality is pretty much that. They kind of like to kind of taste their blood a little bit because, as we've seen with the last couple series, that what made them come back. So I think the Lakers, they're in a position where they're now the hunted. I mean, they've always kind of been that, but I think the Clippers were always kind of looked at as the Lakers could win it, but a lot of people, including myself, had the Clippers winning it. So I think now that they're in this spot, Denver's still in that I'm hungry mode, and we got to do it when we can do it. And one thing that's underrated too is Denver, how they lost last year. They had to feel like there was a couple of bounces away and the CJ McCollum step back away from potentially being two-time champions if things went the way that they wanted it to go. But now they get that mulligan and that payback chance. I think that they'll take that and run with it. Just me.
I also want to say, for game 2 specifically, Mason Plumlee, it was your fault. You went to Duke.
Come on, man.
That's the main reason why. Like, why? You just had to go to Duke, huh?
Bro, everybody has missed an assignment, bro. Come on.
But for that, at a time like this, against a team this,
LeBron took him off, right, with that pick. If I think
no, because Mason Plumlee was like, switch, stay on him. Stay on him.
Who was he switching with? That's a question.
LeBron. And then he was supposed to switch with Jeremy Grant, who was already stuck on that pick, who was already guarding LeBron in the first place.
Well,
you were supposed to stay home.
What AD said, it was LeBron's shot.
That's what I'm saying. The play was designed for LeBron to not move at all and set the pick on anybody who was going to cross him because he was supposed to be in front of AD, who was supposed to hit the three. But AD came across the other side of the court for that screen. And then Mason Plumlee was following him. And then he hit LeBron for that screen. And he was telling Jeremy Grant to switch to AD. But he didn't switch because he wasn't supposed to switch.
All right.
So that's when AD had enough freedom and time to hit that shot.
Yeah, I see how it's Plumlee. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't Plumlee's fault. I'm just saying.
Right. So it was a split second too where he had to switch, and it was like you were telling him like too late to switch. Like why are you like? First of all, he didn't even have to hit Bron on the pick. That's why I'm really saying it's his fault. Like, why do you want the switch? Stay home, bro.
That might be the most average bunch of brothers that I've ever seen. Speaking of Plumlees, like that. Miles, Marshall, or Mason?
Yep, Mason's the only one that was good.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of average, boy. I'm telling you.
Not average, like
I'm mad
Mason's the average one. And I like Mason's game because he doesn't do too much, but like
riddled off all their names like that.
I mean, it's average. They got average names. Marshall, Mason, Miles.
Come
on, man.
Plumlee. All right. Well,
come on.
I don't think Marshall. I think Marshall made the league for like 3 weeks, and then like Miles was cheap.
I know the Zellers are happy. Boy, we can get to keep our average. Get the rest of them out of here.
You said the Zellers?
Yeah.
Cody Zeller, I like.
What?
Tyler went to the
Zellers? Yep.
I haven't heard that name in a minute.
I'm telling you, they woke up too.
All right, so before we go to break, I don't want to talk about this later on. Let's just talk about Michael Jordan trying to be a NASCAR owner real quick. Just real quick. You know, he's out here on his owner bag. I mean, he still owns the Bobcats, right? Or a portion of them, right?
Not the Bobcats, silly goose. The Hornets.
Are they the Hornets now? Bro, I am tweaking. Wait, hold up.
You be fine, bro. You be frizzled.
I'm gone. Okay, nah. It's his article I'm reading, bro.
Where have you been?
It's his article I'm reading.
You've been on the show this long?
Yeah.
I'm about to start paying attention to what you do on the night before showtime.
Bro, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. It's the article that I'm reading. It literally says, because it mentioned 06, and they were still the Bobcats in 06. That's what.
Okay, but then you should still know that they're the Hornets now.
I know. But who cares about Charlotte, though?
That's not the point.
It's your job.
You brought them up anyway.
Nah, man, I can't care about Charlotte.
The franchise up anyway.
Somebody used to.
I brought up Michael Jordan
enough to bring it up.
I brought up Michael Jordan buying the Bobcats because that's what he did, and they switched their name to the Hornets. I'm not supposed to care about that.
Bro, why did you're talking on a basketball show? That's just terrible, bro.
I know,
Apologize
bro.
right now.
I apologize to all the Charlotte fans out there. My bad.
Apologize to Michael Jordan.
I'm not apologizing to him.
Apologize to his organization.
I'm not apologizing to his organization.
So why apologize as a fan?
Look, I
That's
got
all.
some. Look, me and Jordan, we got problems. All right, he don't know it, but we got problems. All right? That's why I don't buy Jordans. We got problems.
Anyway, going to your point.
But before I go on, like, God, man, I was trying to say that he trying to be a NASCAR owner, which is a little share between Open Gym and shout out to the Red Flag podcast. Check that on Fridays. I was trying to do a little plug.
Did they shout us out?
You got to start the shout out somewhere. All right.
Well, we got to be the ones that started.
I got to start.
They was here the last time I saw them. Like they could have started the shout out. I'll hear them shout.
You right.
No more shout outs. If they don't shout us out, B. Done.
All right, but let's just talk about it a little bit before we go to break.
That's what happens when you're dummy rich. You can just wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I mean NASCAR."
Well, I mean NASCAR.
I don't even care about NASCAR.
I'm gonna hire somebody that care about NASCAR.
Gotta do something about it.
Did the same thing with the Hornets or the Bobcats or whatever.
This is a good black power move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he got Bubba Wallace, the only black NASCAR racer I know.
So is Jay-Z about to have his own like golf
Jay-Z might as well. I mean, golf.
He gonna have his hockey agency too.
So Beyonce gonna do tennis?
Somebody better.
That's what's gonna happen.
Might as well. Serena still, she kicking it, and what's her name?
She might be 40. She like
what's the young one's name? Naomi or something?
Man, don't you miss me on this tennis talk. All I know is the noises they
All I know is Jordan better get the water polo, and I'm there.
But
Water polo?
Water polo. I'm the greatest water polo player in the world.
Crazy. Her name is Naomi Ahsoka or whatever.
Black or whatever.
Whatever.
She gonna find you on Twitter and cuss you out.
She can do that all she wants to. I don't answer.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's gonna be famous though. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, she is famous with a famous boyfriend. I do not care, bro.
And then he's gonna be mad.
I'm still gonna listen to his music. It don't matter.
She got a boyfriend that does music?
Yeah. Corday.
Who was that?
YBN Corday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talking to the old man on his
I forgot about that.
Staff here.
I mean, this one 23. He supposed to be the same weight at times.
These young whippersnappers.
The man the same age as us, bro.
You say young corduroy?
Huh?
You said corduroy?
Corduroy.
That's the name? Young corduroy?
I grew up with Rockaware and Mobb Deep, bro.
I grew up with the same thing, bro.
No, you didn't.
All right,
I can't tell.
I wouldn't say grew up that way.
I mean, I wouldn't say grew up that way either, but like you talking about, you grew up with Rockaware and all that. I grew up with Rockaware too.
Waka.
All right, bro. Hold on. What y'all say about Michael Jordan? We just went on that whole tangent.
And like that's what happens.
That's it. He just dummy rich. That's what happens.
I mean, that's what happens when you have more money than you know what to do with it. His wife divorced him, and she got what $750 million.
Holy!
And he's still rich enough to buy a NASCAR.
That's why I don't buy Jordans. That's why.
Man, listen, bro,
you have too much money. You don't even like us.
That's it. And it is the right time to do it, especially with the Bubba Wallace drama, especially if you're Michael Jordan.
Right.
We've always, and it's a lot of it's unfair because he's looked at as, oh, well, he's supposed to stand up for this or he's supposed to speak out. Jordan going Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, if you want a hero, be your own hero. If you want somebody to march for you, march yourself.
That's good.
Like, people often look at celebrities to speak for them. Screw that. Jordan is going to be Jordan. And Jordan ain't got the social issues that you have. Yeah, He's still black. Yeah, he got to deal with drama. But if the popo pull him over, Jordan getting out of it. Unless he did some OJ.
I mean, they might not recognize him. They didn't recognize Stephen A. when he got pulled over. Come on,
Michael Jordan really might have the lawyers to get away with like first-degree murder.
Yeah, Michael might hit you with that. I'm not black. I'm OJ. He might hit you with that.
Okay. The dude that killed his son. I mean, his dad. He had a conversation, and he was saying like if Jordan wanted him killed,
he would have
had him killed.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing he could do about it. So it's just one of those situations where Jordan is that powerful, but his prowess right now was to make his money work for him. smart to go after Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, rather you love him or hate him, because there's a lot of people in NASCAR that hate him. There's a lot of people in NASCAR that hated Bubba Wallace before Bubba Wallace had a problem with the whole new situation.
Right.
Just because of his color. So at the end of the day, it's a smart money move for Michael Jordan, and you can only go up but up with this situation. And this is kind of a way of making your money work for you when you don't have to care. That's a wise investment. And now we're talking about NASCAR on a basketball show.
I mean, I'm just
because of
saying.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So it was a calculated move and it worked out.
All right. What about you, Marvell? How you love that this greatest basketball player in the world, now one of the richest men in the world? You don't care?
Just does whatever he wants. What else could be said?
I
I
guess.
mean, he's got the money for it. It's Michael Jordan. Like I said, it was a black power move. You know what I mean? Like that's basically what it comes down to. He wouldn't. I guess he's conquered his realm. I don't know what he's done with baseball yet. He might do something with baseball later on, but or maybe he just gave that to Magic Johnson. He was like, all right, you can
Nah, baseball a little too. That's too blue blood right there.
No, I'm saying, like, does he have any ownership in a baseball league or anything?
No, and I'm saying that's too blue blood right there.
Oh, okay. I mean,
that's like
it's
football.
Michael Jordan, though.
I mean, but
it's Michael Jordan.
Are there any African American owners?
I'm pretty sure.
I definitely don't believe that they are.
Nah,
that's insane.
We talking about America's pastime. That's
yeah.
That's Rock. Famous Rock landed on us.
I mean, that's what I'm
saying.
Has
there ever been a black owner in baseball? I'm pretty sure there has, but like
I don't think so. There's been a lot of black managers, a decent amount. I know
managers, but like
I know Dusty Baker's still out there, but owners like owning the team, nah.
Yeah, no.
Probably like some execs. I don't even know if there's many execs. That's crazy.
But I don't know baseball like that. But anywho, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's going into a different realm now, so it's just like he's done. He's in basketball currently. That's cool. He's in NASCAR now. I mean, he'll probably do something later in baseball. And it's Michael Jordan.
Right.
At one point, was the most famous person in the world. So he does whatever he wants. So there's nothing really more you could say after that. It's just it's a flex. Yeah. But it's a positive flex.
It pays to be rich. I'll tell you that.
It truly does. Pays to be great at your craft.
It also doesn't help that I don't know much more about NASCAR, so it's just like I guess it'll help start a revolution more of like African American NASCAR drivers. I guess.
I mean,
I don't count NASCAR as a sport, me personally. Anyway,
no, snap! It's driving a freeway. It's pretty much what it is.
Look,
traffic.
Look, I say it's a loop-de-loop, and people get mad at me about this loop-de-loop stuff. So,
but they drive for hours, and that's crazy.
In a loop-de-loop,
but like 200 miles an hour.
That's boring. Man.
I could do that on the freeway.
Not that it's boring, but you could possibly die. Like
I could do that on the freeway though.
200 miles an hour.
I mean, I could hit 150 maybe.
You're gonna do that?
I'm not. No,
that's what I'm saying.
But I mean,
and plus everyone else is going the same speed.
If you're not first, you're last.
I mean, I will give it's a great talent, but like it's a loop.
A talent.
It's a talent. Come on, to keep that car at 200 miles an hour against people right next to you
and driving and being focused on not crashing. That's the talent.
Yeah, that's
crashing is the talent.
That's a talent, but
not dying is the talent.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the hardest sport out there.
Not everyone is like, you know what I'm saying, Johnny Blaze, you feel me?
Johnny Blaze. All right. Well,
which Johnny Blaze?
That's Ghost Rider.
That's crazy.
But he was a stunt man.
Yeah,
that's kind of different, but
yeah, so
still.
Well, we about to go on break. When we come back, we're gonna mention predictions real quick. We're gonna talk about Billy Donovan being the new hire for Chicago Bulls. So catch y'all in a minute.
13 the Lakers, 13 the Bulls. And then you're just going to just jump in the show and just like,
bro, it literally cut on me, bro. All right,
you don't pay attention to nothing.
It's not like I got the timer for when T's interview.
What's wrong with you, man? You
that was my fault.
Yes, sir. It is your fault.
You just don't ever take accountability when you know you are.
All right, bro. It's my fault for not being on it.
Don't be fake now. It's crazy. Now that you on camera.
I mean, I thought producers produce.
I mean, y'all called me out, so I had to do something.
Yeah, but you weren't going to own up to it because when the cameras were on. That's what I'm saying. You don't keep the same energy, Rondell.
It'd be funny acting when he got a little success.
Hilarious.
No.
Got a little success.
Little success.
I'm the famous part of this whole podcast.
You a what?
I'm the fame.
You might be right.
All right, bro. All right, but we back. Open Gym
I'm
presented by
offended.
Mojo Sports Gear. It's me. It's T and Marvell.
You're.
What? Bro, let me rock. Y'all never let me rock, man.
I ain't say
Look,
nothing.
I know y'all saw that Cosby commercial, October 2nd to the 4th. Virtual 5K walk, run, row. Make sure y'all check that out. Make sure y'all do that virtual 5K. And make sure you check us out on Scoring There Network at facebook.com or scoringthere.com, where we have our broadcasts, daily blogs, and, podcasts. Yeah. So we back.
We lied.
Okay.
What, Marvell? All right, bro.
You sound like you.
All right, bro. Let's just talk with these predictions for the rest of these series real quick. Then we gonna jump on Billy Donovan.
I predict 7 for both of them.
Both of them.
All because that's what I want to see. So it's no basketball reasons. It's no logic reason. It's just I want to see as much basketball as I can before the season's over, and we have opportunities for both games to go 7, and I want the finals to go 7-2. So that's my prediction. That's what
All
I'm
right,
sticking with.
but
Although you don't want to, I don't know if you want to vote on my predictions because both the teams I picked to be in the finals aren't here. But I know more than just that. Things happen.
right. But who you got? Since you got it, you wanted to see be in 7, and you wanted Denver and Miami, right?
We talking about them once. Yep. So it's Denver and Miami.
All right.
I'm doing this head heart thing.
Right.
In my head, I'm saying Lakers Celtics. In my heart, I'm saying Nuggets.
So your heart won Denver Nuggets through 7.
Yep.
But your head saying Celtics like.
Yep.
All right. What about you, Margo? That's what we not gonna do. No. We not associated with that, man. We not associated with that, man.
You.
It's only you, bro.
You gonna fire us today?
Today we getting canceled.
All right, so look.
You get canceled every week.
we stay canceled.
It's always something.
I can't remember we didn't get canceled.
We stay canceled this week.
All right, so,
So
how I got the Eastern Conference, I have Heat in 6, but if it goes to 7, I have Boston. I have faith in Boston taking in one final game, and that's incredibly tough. And I'm not super sold on that pick specifically. That's why I would want Miami in 6. But yeah, it would be the toughest game 7 we probably see in a minute. And with the Nuggets and Lakers, I'm sticking with my guns and saying Lakers in 6. But if it goes to 7, I might still say Lakers in 7. I believe that it's just playoff Bron, man. It's just hard to bet against LeBron. It's like sometimes it's hard to bet against Tom Brady. So especially within the past decade.
I give you that.
It's just hard to bet against him.
Right.
It's hard, especially with AD, who's averaged basically 30 against almost everybody in the league this year. So it's hard. And then plus LeBron wasn't even the best player on his team this year. So it's tough. I think that I just want us to put up a great fight. If we win, terrific. I just want us to put up a great fight. That's all I want. I just want us to carry the momentum that we would have into next year, no matter what it is. I just hope it's not 5. I hope we don't lose in 5. I knew we weren't going to get swept. So I just want us to fight. So that's all I really want the most out of us, and just learn and mature.
All right, so you got Lakers, Heat in the finals, but you think it could be Lakers Celtics?
It could be Lakers. I don't know which I could see more. I don't know if I can see Game 7 Boston or I can see Game 6 Miami. Boy, it depends on this next game.
Okay, well, I got Lakers in 5, probably 6, because this young Nuggets team like to fight. And I got this. Well, I want to say the Celtics because I chose Lakers Celtics like a while ago, but I think it's more than likely gonna be Miami. So it's gonna be probably Lakers Miami, Miami in like 5. No, Miami in 6. Yeah,
Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six.
You said 5 originally. That scared me.
yeah, that scared me too. I was like, what am I talking about?
Oh, shout out Tanner. Tanner said Lakers in 6.
Well, you see Tanner at.
On my watch party.
That's crazy. Tanner don't want to pop up over here. All right, bro.
That's good. But
Show love.
if
Wait, he said
I,
who and what?
He's not picking against his Rondo Lakers, is he?
he's picking it against my Nuggets
Uh,
because he said sorry, Vale. So I know that
So
was
wait,
about.
because I know he a Kimba fan. He going Kimba all the way.
Of course he is.
That's crazy. I don't even want to talk about it no more. So
But yeah, the Lakers are going to win the finals. For me, yeah.
so look, let's switch over. Billy Donovan is the first. Is that the first position filled?
no, Steve
No,
Nash.
Oh right, Steve Nash.
Nashville.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But I made a nice little graphic for this too. Billy Donovan is the new head coach of the Chicago Bulls. How y'all feeling about that?
Great hire,
He looks like
smart hire.
Magneto, but like
He
Um,
looks
not
like
actually like William Stryker.
it's it's low key like I'm getting two can play that game vibes with it. As far as not two can play that game. Nick Cannon, Christina Milian, that movie. Can't remember the
Love
name.
don't cost a
love don't
thing.
cost a
Love don't
thing.
cost a thing. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that vibe with it. As far as you need to, Chicago needed to holler at Billy Donovan before Billy Donovan figured out the jig. Before he figured out the Philadelphia situation, before he figured out the Houston situation, because that's where I thought he would more than likely end up is Houston. So it kind of feels like Chicago playing the Nick Cannon role gave up everything for Billy Donovan because they knew if they didn't, they would be stuck with who knows. Chicago's on the cusp. Um, Seeing what Oklahoma has done, excuse me, Billy Donovan has done with Oklahoma, it helps make that hire make more sense to me because he can build the team back up. He can get the most out of a team. You can argue that Chicago disappointed. Chicago had the talent, especially in the Eastern Conference, but for them to end up how they ended up, obviously Jim Boylan was a terrible coach, terrible. But Billy Donovan maximizes the potential of everybody that he has. I think the first year he got a lot of flack, but once people started to really pay attention to what he was doing and how he made his pieces fit, you realize that him and Chicago make a lot of sense. And that's why I connected to the Love Don't Cost a Thing area because watching that movie, at the end of the movie, it ended up making sense.
All
You
right.
know, Nick Cannon was who he was, Christina Milian was who she was, but it worked out because they got the chance to learn each other and work together. And that's what Billy Donovan brings to that crowd. I think he needed to be in a low expectation situation. He came from off of a high level job. He's riding high. Chris Paul's going to end up doing the same thing. Their value was a little bit lower coming into this year. Now it's back to where it needs to be with less pressure. I think Chris Paul's situation, wherever he ends up next, they won't look at that as pressure. Billy Donovan's the same way. Now, one thing I will say again, going to the Rockets, Westbrook may have been an issue with that situation. I don't know how Billy Donovan looked at Russell Westbrook because he was an MVP under your watch, but he's still Russell Westbrook. So he can give you those headaches, he can give you those problems. I think Billy Donovan needed to go to a spot where I see potential in young Kobe White. I see potential in Zach Levine. I see Wendell Carter and Laurie Markkinen. I can get the best out of these
Wait, hold
guys.
on, hold on. You said Kobe White.
Yeah,
I
Mhm.
forgot that man was on that team.
he can do some things, and I think Billy Donovan they needed a young coach that could help him grow. I know Kenny Atkinson was looked at as being a possibility, but I think Kenny Atkinson, especially knowing that you could have coached Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, he's probably looking at that same type of situation. So he's probably looking at Philly, he's probably looking at Indiana, he's probably looking at Houston just to kind of be around more stars. Billy Donovan, I don't think he cares too much about that.
Right.
He wants to coach talent, young talent, and help them grow. And it's a lot to be said about low expectations. So I think it's a slam dunk hire.
All right, and before we go to you, Marvell, Bunk City said Lakers in 5. What up, T Nez, and bad move on Bulls part.
Bucky Bunk.
Yes, sir. He ain't got nothing to say about that.
What, Bucky Bunk? I knew he was going to say something about that. This is a man that I could tell you what he was going to say before you told me what he was going to say, and I ignore it just like I ignore almost everything else he has to say.
All right.
This ain't on accident.
That's deep.
Me and Buckton had this talk the whole time. Now he
That's
feeling
deep.
he feeling
Wait,
good.
when y'all on the
Karen K.
yeah, Karen K show? All right, okay.
I used to gradually destroy him on that show.
That's crazy.
He's doing a little humble glow.
So you went from destroying him to destroying Marvell?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah, dang.
Wait a minute, right?
Bro, look, it may be
What?
deleted, but we both ain't forget the T-Mac.
Forget what? What were you talking about?
We ain't forget T-Mac. Bro.
What T-Mac?
I'm convinced he's the one that deleted it.
Delete what?
The more and more these days go by, man, I'm convinced he's the one that deleted
All
it.
right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right,
Let's get
Marvell.
your Billy Donovan take.
What you thinking, Billy Donovan?
Oh, Billy Donovan. I'm iffy on the hire, strictly because I think that for Chicago there were better options. Not to say that Billy Donovan was not Billy Donovan. Who am I trying to say?
I don't know who you trying to say.
Not in your head.
I mean, Billy Donovan is the new hire, but you trying to talk about the old coach?
Yeah, like I was about to say
Jim Boylan.
Jim Boylan was like you said wasn't the coach for them. I wasn't sure. Billy Donovan, I think, is the coach that can help the backcourt of Chicago flourish. I think that he's a good guard developer, in my opinion. So I think that Billy Donovan is going to help flourish the game of Kobe White because Kobe White has shown flashes of him being good. I just think that there's bits and pieces of his game that he needs to unlock. And I feel that with Zach LaVine coming into a different part of his career where he's looking more of a scorer, he's looking a little bit more sharper. He's looking to be a closer. He's looking to be the standout player for the Chicago Bulls, and that's great. And I think that, like what T said, I think they disappointed a little bit. I had coming in right before the season started. I had them being an 8 seed or a 7 seed. I had them being in Orlando's spot. You know, I had them being better than Orlando. I had them talent wise. You just look at them for face value. You have, Laurie Markkinen, Wendell Carter Jr., Kobe White, Zach LaVine, and Otto Porter Jr. And the rest of them. Like, that's a very talented team. Their bench was, below average, but it was solid enough to, help them carry. I've seen the Chicago Bulls play. They have higher energy. They can move the ball very well. They have a couple of bucket creators. They have potential, and I think that Billy Donovan is going to. He's one of those coaches to where he lets you play like you, but he helps you understand that there is more to you than what you do. So I think there were better options out there for Chicago. I think there are better coaches than Billy Donovan that are still available, but I think that this wasn't the worst hire.
All right, so but y'all both agree that he's one of the best at bringing out young talent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he got the most out of the Thunder, and I think if you're Chicago, it's kind of like easy math. When you look at Oklahoma, you're like, well, they overachieved. Chicago underachieved.
All right.
Let's bring in the guy that helps teams overachieve to help an underachieving team. And Billy Donovan is not too far removed from the college days, so it's more of a relatable kind of thing too. So I think that's another reason that's a great hire. And then something needs to be said about I have the other choices. It's not like Billy Donovan was on one short list. I'm pretty sure there was a few teams that looked at him and wanted him to be their head coach. He picked Chicago. So he sees something in that team that fits his skill set, and I think he's right about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna agree with y'all on that because I never cared much about Billy Donovan. I mean, I get your point. He did bring the best out of that OKC, especially after KD left because he only had KD for a year, I think.
Yeah.
So he did bring the best out of them, but other than the first round, I think the second round, he didn't make it far with just Westbrook. So
Yeah, it was the second round because that was the last time Westbrook had made it past the first round of this year.
all right. But Bunk says, "Hold up, T." Then he says, "I think Sam Cassell would have been a better move for the Bulls. Yes, he did some great things with OKC with a subpar team, but I think they need more energy."
That's a great point there, Bunk. He's right. Like Sam Cassell has definitely needed his chance, but at the same time, like I kind of feel with Sam Cassell the same way I do with Mark Jackson. Is if they were and obviously we're on the outside looking in, but if they were those great of candidates, people would have done hired them by now. Somebody would have hired
I
them
mean,
by
to be
now.
honest, I'm pretty sure anyone can agree. Like Mark Jackson, more than likely is blackballed, and he also probably doesn't want to come back.
Well, I mean, there's probably a reason for that too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So at the same time, now Sam Cassell, I don't think he in that spot, but sometimes you're the assistant. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, like to move over, it's one chair. I get that, but to do that, you have to take on a different kind of role. Sam Cassell, he kind of comes off as more of a um, players coach kind of guy. So I think with Sam Cassell, he's going to get an opportunity, but I think his opportunity is just not yet. It's not here yet.
right.
Um, I think that he's going to have his choices, and who knows, he may have had a couple that he just didn't take. But I do agree with Bunk that he's a great possible hire. But again, there's so much more that meets the eye, that we may not know about. And there's a lot of assistant coaches, player development coaches. There's a whole lot of different options that you can pick. A lot of times we just go off the names that we do know or that we do hear about.
Right.
But nobody was talking about Lloyd Pierce a couple years ago. Now he's a head coach for Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So there's different options. We know Sam Cassell because we do the easy math. He can play ball. He was a leader on the court. He was a leader on the floor. But is he ready to take that next step yet? Now I agree that he can be a great coach, but it just may not be his time yet.
All right. Last thing Bunk said was true statement. Mark Jackson has been blackballed. He is another one that could have worked.
I don't think that Mark Jackson would go to Chicago though.
I
I wouldn't.
don't.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do that either.
If he would have gone anywhere, it probably would have been maybe the Nets. We know he can handle star talent.
See, that's why I don't think the blackball. I think he kind of blackball, but I think he kind of blackballs himself too.
Yeah, because I really think he don't want to come back. He's
I think
fine
so
with
too.
being
I
an
think that
announcer
he thoroughly
or
enjoys
whatever he does.
commentary.
Yeah, like
It's a cushy situation for him, and you get the same perks, low key, but you don't have to be married to something. I think if for his sake, it's gonna kind of have to be one of those things. Like, how humble does he want to be?
right,
Does he want to have that Golden State taste in his mouth? Because some people will look at that Golden State situation and say, "We got the short end of the stick." And other people will look at it and say, "Well, Steve Kerr made him better." Like you were a second round team with Mark Jackson, you are a champion with Steve Kerr. It's easy math. So I think that he's kind of in that spot too, where I think he wants to pick his spots, but the spots that he wants to pick, like I'm sure he would love to coach in Houston, but Houston's not calling Mark Jackson. The media may say something about him, fans may say something about him, but again, that's going back to the names that you know. There's an assistant coach on Memphis Grizzlies um, coaching roster that you may not be thinking about that may be an outstanding coach. There's somebody in the fourth chair in Philadelphia that may be a great coach that's getting overlooked. There's so much talent, and it just has to be the right fit. We see so often where head coaches he's the wrong fit for the right team. So it's making sure you get the right hire, and you got so many other things to worry about. The public have to deal with that, and again, if we're talking about Mark Jackson being blackballed, there's something to that too. He comes with some maintenance that you have to deal with. So I think all those things come into you're still going to be doing commentary. That's why you don't have a job.
yeah, all right.
Mark Jackson in Houston would be phenomenal.
I don't know about that.
I like that a lot.
I mean, T made a point saying with Mark Jackson, the Warriors was like second round Western Conference because the one thing they couldn't get past the Clippers at the time. So with Houston, it's like they already can't get past the Western Conference. With Mark Jackson, can they?
My thing is with that too is look at the different play styles and the different kind of like roster that Steve Kerr had than with
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. look at it from that point of view. Yeah, like Mark Jackson more had like the Harrison Barnes kind of aspect. Steve Kerr had more of the Andre Iguodala era. Just put that in retrospect.
Wait,
Well,
Iguodala
Iguodala was
wasn't.
there
Yeah, I thought he
Mark
was
Jackson
there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steve Kerr's the guy that put him on the bench. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you had Andre Iguodala, and you could have put him on the bench. He didn't. Steve
like
Kerr made that adjustment, and then
that.
he brought in Draymond over David Lee. Those are small adjustments
Wait,
that
that's
made a
what
big
Steve Kerr
difference.
did.
Yeah, that was it.
He brought in Draymond.
Yeah,
Well, they drafted Draymond. I
they
think.
drafted Draymond.
Wait,
Draymond was
Draymond
getting
wasn't on the team when Mark Jackson was there.
Yeah,
No.
he was there. He
Well,
just
he
want to
was
get. Yeah, he was there. He just want to get no burn.
Oh, okay, because I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh yeah,
it was
that was the case. That was
because I
exactly
could
the
have
case.
sworn it was like it was
Because
pretty
David
much,
Lee was coming off an injury.
Okay, yeah, because I thought it was like the same team. It was just a different coach.
It was. He just made a couple adjustments,
Yeah,
which was bringing Iguodala off the bench. I remember Iguodala wasn't happy about it at first, but he remember
Right.
telling him, "You better hope that we win the championship, otherwise, we're going to some blows." But that was the necessary move.
Right.
And then he took Draymond Green and got rid of David Lee. So it was now we reshape our team
And then they
because
got Bogut, right?
well, Bogut was already on that team.
Dang.
That was the Monte Ellis deal. But that's what I'm
Wow.
saying. It was the same. It was essentially the same team. It was just different roles. So we're a slower team. We're throwing the ball down to David Lee more. We're throwing it to Andrew Bogut, and we're hoping that Clay and Steph can come off picks and screens and pin downs and all that to be able to get these buckets. Steve Kerr just said, "I'm a shooter.
And
I know
so
I know
just
what I
hand the
want
ball
to see."
to his shoes.
That's it. And then the Draymond Green adjustment is Draymond can do something that David Lee could do. Draymond
Right.
can run point forward. So it opens up now Clay's off the ball a lot more. Steph's off the ball a lot more. It's that little difference that made a huge difference.
But I'm glad that you brought up that point due to the simple fact that with Mike D'Antoni leaving the Houston Rockets, it's looking like they're going to probably have to reset a lot of that. And with the contract that Russell Westbrook has, it's going to be very hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
So,
what's his contract?
like Supermax.
Supermax. All right, I'm gonna look it up.
It's probably a Supermax because from OKC before he got traded. Remember?
Yeah.
So yeah, his contract is ridiculous. So in order for that to happen, like you said, yeah, you have Mark Jackson playing the slower style, which means they're going to have to go back to having a big man again. So which means they're going to have to probably go into the market into that, which means they're probably going to have to target some players like they could probably hopefully target like a Bam out of the bio if they could afford him. Probably can't, but certain bigs that can help you rebound and probably get you some tough buckets inside, some dirty work buckets, preferably, because again, you're going to have a lot of shot volume with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, specifically James Harden. And you're going to have those wild shots that Russell Westbrook takes that are probably going to build a different hospital next door for us. So, another foundation. You know what I'm saying? He'll probably build us, another bathroom, hopefully. Things along those lines. It's just, I think that with Mark Jackson, he'll help set a different tone that can help wild down Russell Westbrook, but yet put together James Harden's mindset. Like, just listening to his commentary when he talks about Houston, by the way. Just take that for example. Any team that you hear Mark Jackson call, it's just that he knows the personnel. He knows what they're capable of doing. And we're looking at it from face value, like either, okay, from how he plays, I can see that, or we already know. So the coach is making that mistake in the game right now, and Mark Jackson's actually pretty correct. So that's how we feel when we watch those type of things. So with Mark Jackson knowing exactly how James Harden could play and him being a guard himself, Mark Jackson is actually in the top 5 in assists all time in career. I want to say top 3 probably. So he knows what he's doing with his guards. It's just finding a big at this point, and then that can fit Mark Jackson's play style, and that'll be it. I think that's why I feel like Mark Jackson will be great for Houston.
I mean, we saying it like he about to really get hired by Houston, but he's number 4 all time. He's after Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, and John Stockton.
It's a pretty good list.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's no denying that he knows basketball, but it's the main thing. And that's what I think it boils down to. And again, like I said, if he was that great of a candidate, he would have a job. It's just every year You hear people pining for Mark Jackson, but Mark Jackson don't pine for himself.
Right.
So I just think that sometimes and broadcasting probably is his calling. Less politics. So I think that
Facts.
once you deal with that, it's all gravy. I don't know. I just don't think he makes a difference one way or another. It's just at this point, that's why I bring up the assistant coaches and coaches that you're probably not thinking of because I think that's the shot now. It's been so many retreats, and we know what this guy does. Just put him with a different team or different. Forget
I
that.
mean,
Try
to be
somebody
They're
honest,
under branches of
brand new.
certain like
right.
headline coaches. Like Nick Nurse was under the Greg Popovich branch.
Yeah, like to be honest, I think the go-to should be a young coach with
Yeah,
fresh ideas. But before we end it, Westbrook's contract was 5 years. They picked that up, and he got a player option in 2022. And I think it was like I have no clue. It was like 5 years, 206 million.
I do want to say this real quick. The Bucks are looking. They told Giannis that they were going to look to first be aggressive in the offseason to
They
try to get
should.
somebody.
He
I
going,
hope that it is not Westbrook
why would they even pick that up?
because they're desperate.
Nah, bro.
But I hope that they don't do that by any
They
circumstance.
shouldn't.
I hope they don't even look his direction.
What's
They
the LeBron
should.
situation all over again with Milwaukee is that you have to spend crazy and kind of dumb because if you don't, you have to deal with the fact of how much you're gonna lose if that man walks out that door. Ain't nobody checking Milwaukee for Chris Middleton games. Come on, man. You got to see a 2-man game with Middleton and Bless. Nah,
All right, like I said
stop it.
before we go, Bunk had
Finish.
one last thing to say, and also thanks for sharing out the show.
Bunk
He said
City.
they stuck with Russ. That was a bad trade, and they needed Capella. I don't think James want to stay in Houston. He's right about they needed Capella.
Absolutely. Look
They
at Bunk.
thought metrics was just going to just flourish over the league and numbers and systematics worked and all that good stuff. No,
That's like the old grandma telling you, boy, you're so smart, you're dumb. That was what Houston did. It was, you think y'all smart in the league, but you're not. Like, nobody's worried about a 6'5" center at all.
At all.
Like, that
it's
is,
like trying to create it's like trying to create a shortcut and run into a
I'm
brick
just saying
wall.
it's wild. Like y'all almost beat the Warriors, went to the finals that last year. LeBron was with Cleveland by feeding Capella, and then you get rid of him. What 2 years later? That was just
so smart, you're dumb. Like, I knew it was a problem when, again, like I said on this show, you had to depend on Jeff Green. That instantly makes you in trouble. You have to depend on Jeff Green.
the man
Jeff Green ain't
always been.
somebody you want to depend on.
He came in a league of bench player. You gonna depend on Jeff?
I mean, he was pretty good before his heart surgery.
He came in the league of bench player.
But you
I'll
don't want to
stick by that.
depend on him.
He was a good energy player. Yeah, you don't want to depend on him. He was a good energy player before his heart surgery.
All right, man. Well, that's the end of the show. The last thing I had on the notes was build a team, Jimmy Butler edition. But we gonna continue to work on that. That's gonna be next show. Any last thoughts?
Go ahead and check us out. Me and Rondell on Open Gym. Excuse me, not Open Gym.
Dang, you talk about me.
Check us out on Open Gym every week. Same time, same channel. But make sure to check us out on the Nutty North Show on tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And check out my man Marvell and his shows.
My endeavors.
You're supposed to say your show.
Yeah, you supposed to say your show.
This is the segue, man.
You know,
check me
the
out on my
fight
show,
card
man.
ain't that around somewhere?
Somewhere, but it's just not. It's not popping up
That
yet.
fight
But
card ain't came
I'm
up
on
yet.
Sports Unfiltered tomorrow, 4 to 6. You know what I mean? It's me. I am him. Check out every ending of our show. If you don't check out the whole show, just where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm the greatest of all time.
All right, bro. Yeah, y'all know
Who does this?
Y'all know where to find me. Facebook,
Good.
Instagram. Rondell Sullivan, R. Sullivan Films. I'm not giving the whole spiel. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Let me get a shout out to Buck City too, man. Go ahead and book him if you need a DJ. The DJ Buck
Oh, that's
City.
how he does. He does DJ.
Yeah. It's my guy in the bag of fries, man.
Also, he said great show. So,
I want fries.
thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. You know. All right. Was I sending it out after that? Y'all literally stopped talking. All right, we go.
Hey yo.
What's wrong?